What is the fundamental truth of reality from one of the greatest spiritual books in the world? Let's find out. In the great text of the Avadhuta Gita, we find that Lord Dattatreya has a firm conviction for all of us to learn from. Now, for those of you who are unfamiliar with the Avadhuta Gita, this is what is known as a Nididhyasana text. And these texts are a group of texts one comes across on the cusp of enlightenment or beyond the pale of enlightenment. And as I said, Dattatreya has a firm conviction in this text about the nature of reality and the fundamental truth of existence that he wants to share with all of us. Let me read that verse for you. I am without beginning, middle, and end. I am never bound. By nature, I am pure and perfect. This is my firm conviction. So Dattatreya is saying to us that he didn't begin, there is no middle, and there is no end. Now, what is he talking about? He even says that he was never even bound. He was not bound by existence. He didn't suffer, essentially. So what is he speaking about? So first of all, we need to understand the three main concepts to understand this, which is Jiva, the ego persona system, the identity that we believe we are. And then there is the true self, the Atman, the undifferentiated consciousness, which is within you and I, which is truly who we are, which is identical with the Brahman, the ultimate reality of existence, that substratum that is within all of reality but also transcends it. And so what we have here is we have Dattatreya speaking from the perspective of Brahman itself. And so he is relating to us the truth of reality. This is his conviction, his firm conviction for all of us to learn from, that there truly is no beginning, middle, or end, even though we suffer because we think we're in this sequential process, this linear process. But he's saying that that is the fundamental error and illusion, based on the illusion of our Jiva, our ego persona system, which wholeheartedly believes in its own subjective experience, its own identity, its own conditioning, and its own socialization process that it has endured. So it believes it lives through this life and will take on another body in another life and so forth and so on. And we go around and around the cycle of samsara. But Dattatreya is saying that we need to jump off that circle and realize that we are fundamentally Brahman. And then when we abide as the Atman, which is identical with Brahman, then we don't come back life after life. Then we don't suffer from the illusion of beginning, middle, and end. And so you could never be bound, as Dattatreya said, because if you are purely the undifferentiated consciousness of Atman, which is identical with Brahman, how could you ever suffer? Because you are eternal, you are ever present. You could be nowhere ever else, but now eternally, and there is nowhere else to go. You are that right now. But we've all bought into this illusion that we are somebody which is getting older and eventually will die. And so we're holding on to this illusion and we're just not observing this process for what it is because we're not abiding as Brahman. But once we abide as a Brahman, then we can observe this process and let it just gracefully go through its life until it transforms into whatever it may be in the next life, so to speak. But even from Dattatreya's perspective, there is no next life, there is no transformations, none of this exists because all that exists is Brahman alone. There's only Brahman, and even this body, the mind, the intellect, everything is an illusion that arises in the fundamental nature of Brahman. It's actually just a part of Saguna Brahman, Brahman with qualities, but it's not the fundamental reality of no guna Brahman, Brahman without qualities. And so Dattatreya is telling us basically who we truly are. You are beginningless, you are endless, you are fundamentally Brahman itself. Now the responsibility of us, the spiritual responsibility, is can we realize that and live in accord with that and by that, and eventually allow our Jiva to thin out so that more of that shines through us, and then we don't identify with the localization of the one consciousness being the mind-body matrix. We just allow Brahman to be as it will through us, and we are not attached in some sense to our life in air quotes, because there is no our life from the ultimate perspective. This is what Dattatreya is saying. When you understand that everything is Brahman, that the waves are the ocean, then you understand that the waves are temporary and all that there is Brahman itself. And so then you're just allowing life to be as it will, and you're not interfering with it. You're not trying to get ahead in a certain perspective. You're just living your life in accord with Brahman, and you're just allowing your life to be as it will. And you are not too hung up on where your life is going or regret the things that you haven't done in life and so forth and so on, because the greatest boon in life is the realization that you are it. This is the greatest realization. And so from Dattatreya's perspective, the ultimate regret would be living your entire life without ever realizing that and abiding in that. You don't want to be a cop-out and say that, yeah, I know I'm Brahman. But if you haven't drowned the ego into the nature of Brahman and taken life out of it, so you know that you truly are Atman, which is identical with Brahman, then you'll continue to live life after life under this hypnosis that the world is out there and that you are separate from it, and so you are isolated in this meat suit that you think is isolated from everything else, but you are one with everything. This is what Dattatreya is saying. And when you understand that you're one with everything, you can never be bound. You can never suffer, because you are truly the ultimate reality of Brahman. But as I said, you don't want to be a cop-out and just give lip service to that. You want to fundamentally know that truthfully, your Atman within you, within your core, your fundamental true nature, your undifferentiated consciousness, not your differentiated consciousness of the Jiva, but your undifferentiated consciousness is identical with the fundamental reality of Brahman. Shanti, shanti, shanti.